Okay, yes, you can hear me because I can hear me. 1 second. Girls' conference was in May, by the way, which was not actually that long ago. So, I don't know. He's right. Time is all just made up anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, good morning, everybody. I haven't been here in so long. I've been gone, so I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. But so this month, as y'all know, we are talking about fears. I think this is week 3. Yeah, like I said, I've been gone. You guys know better than I do. So we all have things that we're afraid of. You've probably heard this spiel every week, but we all have things that we're afraid of. But as Christians, we are not called to walk in fear and to live in fear, but we're called to walk by faith, which sometimes is a lot easier said than done, yeah? But 1 Timothy 1:7 reminds us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and sound judgment. So as we talk through all of these fears, we're going to discover how God can help us live in his power, in his love, and with sound judgment as we trust Jesus more and more. So to get started today, I have a question for y'all. So if we know each other like kind of well, right? But like some of you I know better than others. But if I was to stand up here right now and say, all right, what we're going to do is we're all going to pile outside into my car, or however many of y'all can fit in my car, and we're going to go on a trip. I'm not going to tell you where we're going. I'm not going to tell you if it's going to be hot or cold or how long we're going to be gone or who's going with us or anything. Who would be like, heck yeah, let's go? Okay, fair. But who's like, no, please tell me where we're going. Please tell me, like, can I take anything with me? Can I pack? Can I tell my family we're leaving? Can I take my dog? Will there be Wi-Fi? Who's those people that need to know it all, need to know the answers? Yeah? So on that note, today we are going to be talking about the fear of the unknown and not knowing what we're stepping into. So I wanted to talk to y'all about this today because this is what I wish I would have heard and learned about when I was your age, because as you get older, I am 26 years old for the next month. I'll be 27 next month. And as you get older, lots of these like life choices and decisions are just thrown in your face, and you kind of just have to make these choices even though you don't necessarily know what's next. And sometimes that's really scary. So I wish at y'all's age I would have known how to trust God through those decisions and understand that he has a plan, and I don't have to know the end of that plan to go ahead and step into the unknown. So in your small groups, you're going to talk a little bit more about this, but before we break out and do all of that, I want to dive into a story in Genesis. It's in chapter 12, verses 1-4. So this is a story about a guy named Abram. You may have heard the name Abraham. So later, Abram's name would be changed to Abraham. And God made an amazing promise to Abraham. And spoiler alert, he actually did go through on this promise that he made. So we're going to read about that. In Genesis chapter 12, verses 1-4, it says, "The Lord had said to Abram, 'Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you.' So Abram went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out." So, like I said, he made this big promise, I will bless you and all of the people. And at the time, Abram didn't know that God was going to follow through on this promise. But what we see is that Abram just went. And I like to think, that's all we get, right? We don't see the in-between conversation, because in my head, it's like, okay, he's like, hey, we're going to go. And I'm like picturing Abram in my head being like, yo, God, I am 75. This is retirement age. What do you mean I'm going to go on this new journey and start this new thing, and then you're going to bless all of these people? Like, what do you mean? I'm old and it's past my time, right? But here's the spoiler part. Abraham winds up being Jesus's great. I don't really know how many greats, but we'll just throw a lot in there. Grandfather. So he is the bloodline of Jesus. So that's how God shows his promise and follows through on his promise. And I think something really interesting about the fact that Abraham just gets up and goes is that, does anybody remember where he told Abraham to go? Yes, he literally said, I will show you. So he's like, Abraham, you go, and then you keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, and then I'll tell you when to stop. Isn't that a fun game? So that's like really scary. Like, how do you know which direction to start? Like, if one of you guys was just like, okay, go, like, do I start going this way or do I start going this way or do I go that way? I don't know which way to even start. But Abraham's just like, all right, cool, let's go. And this always makes me think too, I was thinking about this as I was working through this. Y'all know the song Oceans, where it's like, Spirit, lead me where your trust is without borders. It's like that in the bridge. I saw this really funny TikTok the other day that was like, no, God, you know what? Actually, I'm really comfortable with borders. So if you can lead me where there are borders, because I don't want to walk into something that I don't know. And so I think that's why we're talking about this fear, is that it's really uncomfortable to walk out into something that is unknown. You don't know what's coming next. And I know that we've all had those times, no matter what age you are, from middle schoolers all the way up to the adults in the back of the room. We've had these points where it's like, I don't know what's going next. I don't know what's coming next, but I guess I'll just keep going. So that could start maybe like when I was thinking through my life in this, that started whenever I was in middle and high school. And how many of you have been asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah, hate that question. That was always my worst fear of like, I don't know, because I didn't know the answer. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't know what college I was going to go to. I didn't know what career I was going to have. So I always was like, okay, God, just like any answer, because I would just freeze. People were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, no idea. I wouldn't even have a made up answer. So that's where it started for me. And then I got to college. I picked a major. I was about to graduate. And then I was like, where am I going to work? I don't know. I just don't want to go to my hometown because I don't want to go back there. And then guess what I did? I went back to my hometown because that's where I felt led to go. And so that was just a big step in trust for me. And then going through working, I'm like, okay, cool, feeling settled, feeling good. And like, no more unknowns. We're good. I know where I'm at now. And then I was in a relationship, long-term relationship, that was coming to an end, that I felt led away from, actually. And so I was like, hey, God, like, I know it's not a good situation right now, but it's a lot more comfortable than stepping into another unknown. Like, I'm sick of these unknowns. I'm sick of not knowing what's coming next. I like being comfortable where I am right now. Long story short, left that relationship. And all the times before when I'd been led into the unknown, it was good. I found a job, I found a place to live, I found a college to go to, and all of those things. Well, this one was not as good. So after I'd left that, and I'm like, all right, step into the unknown, bigger and better things. And then I slept in my car for a month. True story. I'll tell you all the long version of it at some point if you want me to. So I was like, okay, God, remember those other times when you gave me a job and a place to live and college and all of those decisions? Where is that one? Because it feels pretty bumpy right now. And then got out of that situation, moved to Kentucky, things were good, and then COVID-19 happened. And I'm like, okay, God, what the heck is going on? And so I think it's just a big picture of, we don't know what's happening next, but God's like, it's okay, I got you, I got you, I got you. And my continuous prayer was like, all right, God, you've been here before, you're going to keep being here, like, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going. And all of those unknowns where it felt really scary in the moment, or it felt really scary to jump and take that first step and not know which direction I was going into, has led me to literally this spot right now. Like I said, I moved to Kentucky. I got connected with Jack. I got connected with Tim. I got connected to Hickory Grove. And I'm literally standing here because I stepped into the unknown over and over and over and over again. And so maybe it was a good situation. Maybe it was stepping into a really cool job, or stepping into an awesome new church, a new youth group, or into a leadership position, or maybe it was stepping into sleeping in a car for a month. But I think the biggest takeaway is that no matter what unknown you're stepping into, it's knowing that you can trust that God is going with you. He won't leave you. He won't forsake you. He knows what the plan is, and sometimes you just have to lean in and trust that that's going to happen. And as you look back on your life, you can realize that he's been there the whole time, and he's going to keep being there for you. And so I think maybe, I didn't become Jesus's great grandparent, but I think when we step into the unknown, it looks pretty similar for all of us, in those fears and those anxieties and not knowing what to do. And we don't get a big picture of what Abraham was feeling, but I think he's human, we're human, we can guess what he was feeling like. And I think that Abraham ended up obeying God and stepping into the unknown, because even though he had to give up so much, he literally had to give up everything that was comfortable for him. he was scared, he probably doubted, he questioned God along the way, I'm sure. I know I've had those moments. I'm sure adults in here can tell you that they've had those moments, and you guys may have had those moments already where you're questioning if God's even with you or if he's even there. But along the way, he trusted and he believed his promises, and God always follows through on his promises. And something that I wanted to add that was super like life-changing for me that I learned when I was 24 years old, so just a couple years ago. Someone told me, and it was actually the person that told me was actually a high schooler at the time, which was really cool. He said that, hey, you know what's really awesome is all those things you've been through, the same God that is with you right now is the same God that was with you in those hard times. And that's the same God that was with Abraham way back in the day when he made those promises. So if you ever doubt that God is going to be with you or is going to just send you into the unknown without him being there with you, he didn't leave Abraham, he didn't leave me, and he's not going to leave you. So I want to challenge you as you go into your small groups. Talk about those things you're afraid of. Talk about those unknowns you're afraid of. It's sometimes really hard to open up those things, especially when we're talking about these core fears. So not just for this week, but I think we have one more week of this left. Talking to the people around you about those fears and those unknowns that you are scared to walk into, and when it's hard to trust God, and when it's hard to believe that God is going to be there with you through all of these things. It's really important to remember that you can step into those boldly and confidently, because we can trust God, we can trust his promises because he always follows through.